Hi everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Please give us a few minutes for other attendees to join. We'll be with you shortly. Hello and welcome to our Lamvin webinar. I'm Mark Rich, VP of Sales, and with me today is Rick Farthing, Design Engineer Manager. Lamvin offers the art of sound solutions. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing good, Mark. How are you?
Oh, tongue twisted apparently in the beginning. But it is what it is. All right, you ready to get to this?
Yeah, let's hit it.
There we go. This will be fun. So today's webinar, we're going to be discussing acoustics in corporate environments. As always, we'll go into baffles, beams, panels, different types of applications, certifications, going over again our REACH, RoHS, Red List Free, Living Building Challenge, all the necessary things that our customers ask of us and for various application use, where we use these products and why. So let's start this off with printed art panels. So again, we're doing this for corporate environments. So what we see a lot of from our customers is you go into a lobby or you have a main area, you have the harsh walls, you have the hard floors. Rick and I see this all the time, and they need to add some acoustics to the environment in order to soften the noise. And a lot of times what we come up with is printed art panels, because you can put your logo into it and you can make it as big or as small as you're looking for. Rick, what are some of the things that you look for when adding printed art panels into, like, let's say, a lobby area?
It's a lot of the architecture. Is it a radius wall or a flat wall? Are they looking for a logo specific? And a lot of times they'll have a standard Guilford fabric or a different manufacturing fabric with their company colors around and just one with a logo. Others, they want to do a theme, such a seasonal theme. So a lot of times, like restaurants, they'll have a wooden frame for the art panels around and just change them out for holidays or seasons. And
yeah, that's definitely a good point, because it is a printed art panel. It doesn't have to be one way all the time. You can use it, hang it up, put it up with Z clips, take one panel off, put another panel on, create some variation, in the lobby.
I'd like to also mention that a lot of companies, they like to do their mission statements on a digital print, or just what they're known for, or just one of their key.
Sometimes we see it where people have the printed art pieces and they like the outside of the building for various reasons, or projects that they've worked on. Let's say it's an architectural firm that this is going into. They may want to put a statement piece on a wall, because again, if you have those hard floors, you've got the wood floors, you've got tile floors, you have, typically what we've seen in most cases are concrete walls and or ceilings. The sound is going to be bouncing around and moving around. So add some art and also make it acoustically friendly. So going into the printed art, what do we look for and what are we doing? We typically offer these in 1 or 2 inch thick pieces. So you're seeing there, it's a 1 1/8 or a 2 1/8. We want that hard MA surface on the front, which is typically we use for attackable aspect or impact resistance. So that art piece is really nice and taut. It shines well. It works very well. Anything you want to add to that, Rick?
The picture quality, typically 300 DPI and or greater. You can go to Shutterstock or even some of the iPhones. The newer iPhones now is perfect quality and can be blown up to fit an acoustic panel without too much pixelation. So the better quality of image that you can supply, can be transferred over.
Absolutely. And something to notate is it doesn't have to be just one image per panel. We can take multiple panels with one image. So if you want to take an entire wall and have one logo or one setting, we can certainly put that together, or we can put a little bit of a gap in between them. So it's one image, but with the slots in between it. So you're kind of adding a little bit more of again, an art aspect to the printed art panel.
A panoramic scenery broken up into multiple panels, or a single image of a tree all spread apart, given different aspects, and have seen both.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So baffles, how do baffles play into your standard environments? We see a lot of these, as we've noted here, in lobbies, meeting rooms, private offices. So sometimes you don't have wall space. You certainly don't have it on the floor, as you're seeing here, because you have those glass walls. You still need to add acoustics to the room. Sometimes you don't want panels across your entire ceiling because maybe you like the way that it looks. You like the exposed beam or the exposed concrete look, exposed, electrical outlets, anything like that. So we add in baffles. We can add in baffles, and we can tone the baffles down by showing you our sonic timbre here. I'll let Rick go into a little bit of the detail about the sonic timbre.
Well, the sonic timbre is our artsy wood beam. A lot of people want that wood structured look without the weight on the ceiling. And this really supplies a lot of the acoustics from the reverb going back and forth down long hallways, churches, multi-purpose rooms, or swimming halls. Anything that's a very big open that has the rebounding off the ceiling kind of effects that they want to control. It is measured in the Sabins, and it's best used, well, in this case, it is an art panel and acoustic panel. This, well, in my opinion, is a kind of a basic layout of just suspended beams rather than half-lapped together into like a lattice look or stacked lumber crisscrossing across the ceiling. And but this baffles seem to be, especially end of last year into this year, the big push. A lot of people have been asking for what can we do with baffles, and what kind of shapes versus does wood look. Wood is still kind of the number1 request, and
yeah, it's a nice warm tone to it. So that's absolutely why we see a lot of that. Can you tell us a little bit about the different hanging methods for some of these baffles that you would typically see in an environment like this?
Well, typically they're suspended by the cable. It's an 1/8" aircraft cable or a threaded rod if you want it to be more secure and not swing. Or they'll be half lap together to join into a cluster, various groups of. So if you wanted like this main seating area and then going down either side of the walkway there, you can have smaller ones, and but they can also be fixed straight to the substrate using a Rotofast iHook. I'm sorry, Rotofast snap-on. And that really makes a really close profile, but you got to watch out for sprinkler systems and other things that might you cannot impede. Watch out for lights and Wi-Fi centers, and but the sprinkler systems are one of the bigger ones. But an open entryway,
perfect.
Yeah,
works well. So again, going to that lobby idea, we also make some panels that can go with the curves of the wall. So we're starting to see, there's a lot of harsh angles, but then you also have the curves. So if you happen to have a radiused wall, we can make you a radius panel that can either go around large columns, it can go convex or concave. It has impact resistance as well. If you want that wrapped around with a fabric to soften up the space, we can do that. We can also do it with digital prints. And we also have another option to where it's just a perforated copolymer plastic. So if it's a high use area, a lot of people bumping into it, typically in a corporate environment, you don't see that. But in certain areas, you may need to, because there could be the service entrance, the service areas, to where you have a lot of excess noise that's spilling over into the offices, and therefore you need to apply that type of treatment in those areas. Anything you want to add to the radius panels, Rick, that maybe anybody needs to know that's a little bit special?
Well, yeah, one of the things is adhesive mounting is typically the mounting method because of the relief cuts in the back. It doesn't provide enough open area to put a Z-clip or a Rotofast and have it securely hold. So the radiuses can generally be about a 6 foot or greater radius. Anything more than that, the panel wants to spring back out to go flat.
It's got memory.
And, yeah, it's got the memory. And so adhesive mounting is the typical one, unless it's a nice flowing, smooth radius, concave, convex, that is usually a back wall or even a ceiling that has, a unique architecture. We've done in the past, half the panel is flat going into a radius on the other side, so it can be molded to the ceiling, all installed with Rotofast snap-ons. So yeah.
That covers it. So a lot of times we get requests for statement pieces. This is a paneling system that we did make for a particular client, to where, again, we offer the Art of Sound solutions. That's Lamvin. So here you go. Here's a statement art piece that can go right on a main wall. Lots of little pieces. We could do this in a digital print, or we can do this as separate small little pieces that are individually wrapped and then assembled and put on the wall. Here we're showing you our soft tone panels, because sometimes you don't want that thicker panel. You do want it a little bit thinner just to make it a little bit lower profile. You still need some sound absorption, but maybe you don't need as much. This is our soft tone line that allows and gives you that. It's a mineral fiber board product that's on there, gives you some good sound absorption, makes it statement piece. It's nice, crisp, harsh edges, so that way you can sit there and make it pop. Reverberation in a area, and again, going into the different types of reverberation that Rick was pointing out with our other baffles and beams, we do offer different styles. We showed you a sonic timbre before. Now we're showing you a little bit of curves. We have a single core, and we also have a dual core version of this product. Here in particular, we're showing you a single core. So Rick, can you go into the construction of a single core and some of its limitations?
Yeah. Again, well, the single core baffle is it's suspended by the wood spline at the top of the baffle, but you're limited by the fabric. The width of the fabric will generally dictate how big of a baffle you can have, because it's wrapped on all 6 sides in one wrapping. So also complex shapes, big radiuses, or any kind of radius patterns, the fabric does not stretch all that well. Most Zarels have a little bit, but Guilford and Maine, they offer a lot more movable fabric, stretchy fabric, but vinyls, they don't give. So you're limited on the shape and the height of the baffle to be wrapped. Unlike the dual core, don't know if we're going to be talking about that one later, but the dual core,
yep,
it's two panels wrapped and then glued back to back with mounting out the top of it. Where that one is a lot more forgiving. You can go a lot bigger because you're only wrapping one panel, one side, and then again, adhesive mounting them together, sandwiching them together. So you can get away with a lot bigger panels as well as more custom shapes. The dual core versus a single core, we haven't really found any difficulty complexity wise between a single core and dual core, other than just the mounting, really, how it joins together and seeing the seam around the edge. So it's yeah, whatever the situation,
whatever the look or the style of the environment is, really dictates what kind of baffle that you would be using.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But to kind of really touch on the mounting, suspended cable, threaded rod, or in some cases, if the baffle is wide enough, a roto-fast snap-on direct snap to the substrate. But typically they are eye hooks, as you can see there, with suspended cable.
Yep. So getting into our veneer PET line, this is our Hushwood product. We've presented it many times before, but it still has a lot of popularity. It is, again, a PET backing with MDF and a real wood veneer that's pre-stained and ready to go right on top. In the lower right-hand screen, you're going to see the 4 different colors that we option. Again, these come in standard size sheets, 24 by 96. Simply mount it to the wall, standard drywall screws, put it in right through the PET. Don't go through the wood facing. You don't want to ruin that, but it'll hide, the drywall screws. You don't really see them at all when you drill right through the black PET that's in there with standard drywall screw. Something to notate here a little bit is it is recyclable. It is post-recycled content, and again, it is a standard 2-foot by 8-foot sheet panels. Movable dividers. So we're seeing a lot of this activity happen in a lot of environments as people are getting back into the corporate environment working there. Well, a lot of people have had their spaces reduced. So what do you do when you need to put, or effectively put more people into a smaller space? Well, you have to make mini offices in a way. So what we want to show and talk about here a little bit is our Hush divider system. So Rick, how do you see these working in typical environments, and why would you recommend them, versus anything else?
Well, call centers, any kind of an open, large open space where there's multiple people either on the phone having meetings or utilizing the keyboards. I've heard more people just from their neighbor hammering the keys. They just want to, just little sounds like that they want to control, either with baffle or ceiling clouds above them or these wall partitions. And typically they go with the more of the mural look. But yeah, these partitions they work well in a they work well in these big open working environments, and they can also,
if it changes and you have to move them, it's easily to move,
And I was just going to point out that the last 2 jobs we did, they didn't want them sitting on the floor. They wanted them suspended from the ceiling. So we just inverted them, put eye hooks on the tops, and let them hang them from the ceiling.
Yep, almost like a false wall there. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So offices, private offices. Sometimes you need a quick kit, or you need a small kit, or you want to build up a kit that's in here. This is our Oceanside Acoustic Eco Panel Kit. It is exactly what it says. There is a lot going on here. This is a red list free, so formaldehyde free product. It has a bleach cleanable biodegradable fabric that is wrapped around it. It comes in specific sizes as we notate here, 12 by 12, 12 by 24, and 24 by 24. Comes with all the standard mounting hardware kits. And the nice thing is you can take this kit, put it up on a wall, you can spread them out or bring them together as we kind of show you here in a corporate office to where you could, change the orientation of the fabric. It is, directional fabric. So you can have it go left to right, top to bottom. You can rotate the panels, do as you see fit and add your own, architectural environment. It's actually right behind me right now on this webcam. So as you can see, I was able to build it up and make it exactly how I wanted it for my own home office environment. It's a fantastic product, so definitely take a look.
I was actually going to buy my time and I'll say mostly VPs of sales are the ones buying the product.
I stole it from you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I'll get you another time though. But the biggest like on that is a lot of the customers, they like the movement. They're tired of just a flat wall. They're tired of complexity of installing, or they just want to fill a certain area. And just having standard sizes, 12 by 12, 24 by 24, and actually a 12 by 24, and just various thicknesses and let them create the environment that they're going to be sitting in for more hours than they spend at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we also want to talk about absorbing and blocking sound. So we do have those environments to where, let's just be honest, as we're doing right now, we're on webinars, we're on Teams calls, we're doing all sorts of video conferencing, which means people tend to escalate their voice, get a little bit louder. Well, what happens if your office is right next to a corporate office or a corporate, what's the word I'm looking for? Conference room. And you need to block some sound because everybody's screaming at a screen. Well, we have absorb and blocking panels. So what we can do here is go through and add in a membrane, which is a mass-loaded vinyl barrier that goes in between two pieces of fiberglass. We wrap it, mount it to the wall so it absorbs and blocks the sound. So let's say you had a conference room office, Rick. How much would you really need to put into an office like this? Let's say you're doing lots of video chats, exactly this kind of environment.
Typically 20 to 40% of the wall surface. And again, it's where needed. The sound block is really designed, the acoustic panel controls the noise where the vinyl helps prevent the noise. It's not 100% sound blocking, but it does stop a lot of industrial sounds coming through the walls, or like you said, other chatter or other industrial or even verbal
Yeah,
noise.
so you're having a bunch of meetings, and you're bringing your entire team in on video calls, and you happen to have an office near or there, or sometimes you need a private conversation. That sound's going to spill and leak through. So putting up these types of panels will, to your point, control the echo in the room as well as stop some of what's going out to where maybe somebody, they shouldn't be listening or hearing it.
Yeah. And some things that people always forget is the ceiling tiles above are not as soundproof as they think. It's replacing the ceiling tiles with a massive vinyl.
That's right. Some sound blockers.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, that's the end of our short webinar today on our acoustics and our corporate environments. I'm Mark Rich, VP of Sales, and with me, as always, is Rick Farthing, Design Engineering Manager. We really appreciate your time and hope you got some great information. Should you have any questions, please feel free to email either one of us or simply make a phone call, and we'll answer it as best we can. Thank you and have a great day.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Rick.